My friends, we live in a world where the mind is constantly seeking control. Control over circumstances, people, and outcomes. But what if I told you that true power lies not in controlling, but in trusting? Too often we wrestle with life, pushing and pulling, trying to force things to happen according to our limited understanding. Yet the secret is simple. Let God handle it. The universe is not chaotic. It operates on a divine principle that brings order, harmony, and fulfillment when we align ourselves with it. The mind is the foundation upon which all reality is built. What we see, experience, and manifest in life is not random. It is the result of the thoughts we hold, the beliefs we cultivate, and the assumptions we live by. There is an unseen force that governs creation, and it responds not to wishful thinking, but to unwavering faith and conviction. Many people pray, hope, and desire, yet they remain trapped in the same circumstances. Why? Because they do not truly believe. Faith is not merely the act of asking, it is the certainty that what is asked for is already done. It is not about hoping that things will change, it is about knowing that they already have. To understand this principle, we must first recognize that the mind is not just a passive observer of reality. It is the architect of everything we experience. The thoughts we dwell upon, the emotions we entertain, and the assumptions we hold create the world around us. This is not a metaphor. It is a law, as real and precise as gravity. Just as a seed planted in fertile soil will grow into a tree, so too will a belief held firmly in the mind manifest in our external world. If we allow doubt, fear, and limitation to take root, they will shape our reality in the form of struggle and hardship. If, however, we plant the seeds of faith, abundance, and certainty, life will bring forth evidence of that faith. There is a profound difference between wishing and believing. Many people wish for better circumstances, but deep inside they entertain fear and uncertainty. They pray for financial prosperity but continue to worry about lack. They desire healing but constantly dwell on sickness. Their inner world contradicts their outer requests, and so their prayers go unanswered. But when one truly believes, there is no room for contradiction. When the mind aligns with the desired outcome, when faith replaces fear, and when belief becomes stronger than doubt, reality has no choice but to conform. This is why the greatest miracles occur not from desperate pleading, but from calm, unwavering assurance. One of the greatest obstacles to faith is the human tendency to seek control. We want to know how things will happen. We want to see evidence before we believe. But this is not how the law of faith operates. Faith demands trust. Trust that once a thought is planted, it will grow. A farmer does not dig up his seeds every day to check if they are sprouting. He knows that the process is working beneath the soil, unseen but certain. In the same way, when we hold a belief in our hearts and act as though it is already a reality, the universe sets things into motion that we cannot see. Doors begin to open, opportunities arise, and circumstances shift to align with our conviction. But if we allow doubt to creep in, if we question the process and constantly search for visible proof, we interrupt the very mechanism that brings our desires to life. Another barrier to true faith is attachment to a specific outcome. Often we decide not only what we want, but also how we want it to happen. We believe that things must unfold in a particular way, through certain people at a specific time. And when things do not go according to our plan, we assume that our faith has failed. But faith does not require us to dictate the method, only to trust the result. The divine intelligence that governs creation sees far beyond our limited perspective. Sometimes what we desire is already on its way, but it arrives through an unexpected path. Those who truly understand faith release their need to control the process. They hold their vision firmly but remain open to the infinite ways in which it can come to pass. When faith is applied correctly, it eliminates worry. Worry is the mind's way of expressing disbelief. It is the admission that one does not truly trust that things will work out. But worry is unnecessary for one who knows that the outcome is certain. If you knew without a doubt that your goal was already accomplished, would you still waste energy in fear? Of course not. You would carry yourself with peace, confidence, and certainty. This is the key. Walk as though your prayers have already been answered. Speak as if your success is already achieved. Feel as though your dreams are already real. This is not pretense, it is alignment. The world we experience is nothing more than a reflection of our inner state. If we live in fear, life will provide more reasons to fear. If we live in doubt, life will confirm our doubts. But if we live in faith, we will witness the miraculous unfold. This is why faith is not a passive concept. It is an active force that shapes reality. It is not enough to say we believe. We must live as if we believe. We must discipline our minds, train our thoughts, and guard our emotions so that they remain in harmony with the outcomes we seek. The greatest transformations happen when we stop resisting and start trusting. Struggle is the result of pushing against the natural flow of creation. But when we align our minds with certainty and surrender the need to control, everything begins to move effortlessly in our favor. This is the power of faith. It is not about waiting helplessly. It is about knowing deeply. It is about stepping into the reality of our desires before they manifest physically. This is the secret to changing any aspect of life, not by force, but by unwavering conviction. Faith is the master key to creation. The question is not whether the law works, but whether we are willing to trust it. The mind that remains steadfast, the heart that remains certain, and the spirit that remains unshaken will always see the fulfillment of its desires. This is the truth that governs all things, and when understood, it changes everything. Most people live their lives trapped in a cycle of doubt, fear, and hesitation. They set goals, make plans, and work hard, yet they constantly question whether things will turn out in their favor. This is because they are focused on how things will happen instead of trusting that they will happen. The mind, when left unchecked, becomes obsessed with control. It wants to know every detail, every step, and every outcome before it commits to belief. But true faith does not operate this way. Faith requires us to step into the unknown with the conviction that everything is already aligned in our favor. When we assume that something has already been accomplished, we align ourselves with the reality of that outcome. This is the essence of the law of assumption. It states that whatever we accept as true in our minds must eventually manifest in our external world. This is not wishful thinking or blind optimism. It is a fundamental law of creation. If you want to experience success, you must first believe that you are already successful. If you desire love, you must carry yourself as though you are already deeply loved. The universe does not respond to desperation. It responds to certainty. Many struggle with this concept because they cannot separate themselves from their current circumstances. They look around and see financial struggles, difficult relationships, or health challenges, and they assume that these external conditions dictate their future. But the truth is that reality is fluid. What we see today is simply a reflection of the thoughts and beliefs we held in the past. If we want to change the future, we must change our assumptions in the present. This is where the power of imagination comes into play. The human mind is not just a tool for logic and reasoning. It is a gateway to creation. When we visualize a desired outcome and immerse ourselves in the feeling of already having it, we are programming our subconscious mind to accept it as truth. And once the subconscious accepts it, the external world has no choice but to conform. But for this to work, we must eliminate doubt. Doubt is the enemy of creation. It weakens our assumptions and introduces contradictions that block manifestation. A person who desires wealth but constantly worries about money is sending mixed signals to the universe. Their words may say, "I am prosperous," but their energy says, "I am afraid of lack." The universe responds not to words, but to the dominant state of being. This is why some people struggle for years despite affirming positive outcomes, because deep inside they have not fully assumed the state of their desire. Assuming the state of fulfillment is not just about thinking positively, it is about embodying the reality of your desire. This means walking, talking, and feeling as though what you want is already yours. It means making decisions from a place of confidence rather than hesitation. When you adopt this mindset, something remarkable happens. Opportunities appear, doors open, and circumstances shift in your favor. This is not magic. It is the natural consequence of aligning your inner world with your outer reality. Most people fail to realize this because they are too attached to time. They expect results immediately, and when they do not see instant changes, they fall back into doubt. But creation does not work on human schedules. A seed does not sprout into a tree overnight. It grows in perfect timing. The same is true for our desires. The moment we assume something is true, the universe begins rearranging itself to bring it into existence. But if we lose faith along the way, we disrupt the process. The key is patience and persistence. You must hold your assumption unwaveringly, regardless of what your senses tell you. The physical world is a delayed reflection of your inner state. If you remain firm in your belief, reality will eventually catch up. Those who master this principle understand that their job is not to question how things will unfold, but simply to maintain the feeling that they already have what they desire. Some may ask, isn't this just pretending? But there is a significant difference between pretense and assumption. Pretending is superficial. It is trying to convince yourself of something you do not truly believe. Assumption, on the other hand, is deep conviction. It is a knowing so strong that it overrides external appearances. It is not about fooling yourself. It is about realizing that the unseen is just as real as the seen. The most powerful individuals in history have understood this law, whether consciously or unconsciously. They did not wait for proof before believing in their success. They assumed it as a fact before it became visible. This is what separates those who achieve greatness from those who remain stuck in mediocrity. The difference is not intelligence, resources, or luck. It is belief. To truly master this principle, you must make it a way of life. You must train yourself to think from the end rather than towards it. If you desire a specific outcome, ask yourself, how would I feel if it were already done? How would I act? What choices would I make? Then begin living in that state today. The moment you make this shift, everything around you begins to change. Reality is not fixed. It is a reflection of your assumptions. When you stop seeing your desires as distant possibilities and start treating them as present realities, you unlock the true power of creation. The mind is the greatest tool we have, and when used correctly, it has the ability to transform every aspect of our lives. Assume the best, believe unwaveringly, and watch as the world reshapes itself to match your conviction. Every person has within them the power to shape their reality, but very few understand how to use it. The greatest mistake people make is assuming that life happens to them rather than through them. They believe that external circumstances dictate their experiences, never realizing that their inner world is the true cause of everything they see. The thoughts they entertain, the beliefs they hold, and the emotions they nurture are constantly creating the world around them. This is not a philosophy or a hopeful idea. It is an unshakable law of existence. To change your life, you must first change yourself. Many people spend their days reacting to their environment. They wake up, check the news, scroll through social media, listen to the opinions of others, and allow all of these influences to shape how they feel. If something positive happens, they feel good. If something negative happens, they feel bad. In doing this, they have given away their power. They have allowed the external world to dictate their internal state, instead of realizing that the opposite is true. The internal state dictates the external world. Everything begins in the mind. Your dominant thoughts, whether conscious or unconscious, are constantly attracting experiences that match them. If you focus on lack, you will see more lack. If you dwell on failure, failure will follow you. But if you assume success, abundance, and joy, life will reflect these things back to you. This is not a theory, it is a principle that has been observed throughout history by those who have mastered the art of creation. The challenge, however, is that most people do not truly believe in their ability to shape their reality. They wish for change, but they do not fully assume that change as their present reality. This is where the law of assumption comes into play. Whatever you assume to be true in your inner world must manifest in your outer world. This does not mean simply thinking positively or hoping for the best. It means fully embodying the state of already having what you desire. If you desire success, you must assume the state of a successful person. If you desire love, you must assume the state of being loved. This means thinking, feeling, and acting as though your desire is already fulfilled. When you do this consistently, the universe has no choice but to bring it into reality. The reason this works is because the mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. Scientific studies have shown that when a person vividly imagines an experience, the brain responds as if it is actually happening. This is why athletes use visualization techniques to enhance their performance. They see themselves winning before they ever step onto the field. They feel the emotions of victory before the game even begins. And because their minds accept this as reality, their bodies and actions align with that belief, leading to success. The same principle applies to every area of life. If you want to manifest a specific outcome, you must create it in your mind first. You must imagine it so clearly and feel it so deeply that it becomes more real to you than your current circumstances. This is not daydreaming or wishful thinking. It is a deliberate practice of creation. The more you immerse yourself in the feeling of your desire being fulfilled, the faster it will manifest. There is one major obstacle that prevents most people from achieving their desires: doubt. Doubt is the destroyer of dreams. The moment you question whether something is possible, you weaken your assumption. The moment you look for evidence in the external world before believing, you delay your manifestation. True faith does not require proof, it creates proof. Those who master this law understand that their only job is to maintain their inner conviction, no matter what appears to be happening in the physical world. But how do you maintain faith when reality seems to contradict your desires? The answer is persistence. Reality is nothing more than a reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. If you hold firm to your new assumption and refuse to waver, reality will eventually conform. The mistake most people make is giving up too soon. They assume their desire for a few days, see no immediate changes, and then revert back to doubt. In doing so, they cancel out their manifestation before it has a chance to appear. Think of it like planting a seed. When you plant a seed in the ground, you do not dig it up every day to see if it is growing. You water it, nurture it, and trust that it will sprout in due time. The same is true for your desires. The moment you assume something is true in your mind, the process of creation begins. But if you constantly doubt, question, or worry, you are essentially digging up the seed before it has a chance to grow. This is why the greatest creators throughout history have been those who possessed unwavering faith. They did not need to see evidence before believing. They believed first, and the evidence followed. They lived in the state of their fulfilled desires before the world reflected it back to them. And because they refused to entertain doubt, they achieved what others considered impossible. This is the power that lies within you. You do not need to seek external validation. You do not need permission from anyone else to create the life you desire. The only requirement is that you assume it as already done and refuse to waver in that assumption. When you master this principle, you will no longer be a victim of circumstances. You will be the creator of them. Most people will never apply this knowledge because they are too attached to their current reality. They will say, "I will believe it when I see it." But those who understand the truth know that the opposite is required. You will see it when you believe it. The choice is yours. You can continue living as a passive observer, allowing external events to dictate your life, or you can take control, assume the reality you desire, and watch as the world reshapes itself to match your conviction. Life is a toolbox that you control. The power has always been within you. The only question is whether you are ready to use it. Many people live their lives in a constant state of struggle, believing that they must fight, push, and control everything to get what they desire. They believe that success, love, and happiness come only through hard work and effort, and that if they relax for even a moment, everything will fall apart. But this belief is rooted in fear, not truth. The truth is that creation does not require force. It requires alignment. When you are aligned with what you want, it comes to you effortlessly. When you try to control everything, you create resistance. The key to manifesting your desires is not in trying harder, but in learning to let go and trust. Letting go does not mean giving up on your dreams. It does not mean sitting back and waiting for things to happen without taking action. Instead, it means surrendering the need to control the how and when of your manifestation. Most people fail to create the life they desire because they are too focused on the details. They obsess over the steps, the obstacles, and the timeline, rather than simply assuming the end result as already done. This need for control is based on fear. The fear that if they do not manage every detail, things will not work out. But fear and faith cannot exist in the same space. You must choose one. The process of manifestation is simple. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and trust that it will come to pass. The moment you place your desire in your mind and accept it as reality, the universe begins working to bring it into existence. But if you doubt, worry, or try to control the process, you block the very thing you are trying to create. This is why so many people struggle. They send mixed signals. One moment they believe in their success, the next they question whether it will happen. This inconsistency creates resistance and delays their manifestation. Think of it like ordering a meal at a restaurant. When you place an order, you do not run to the kitchen to make sure the chef is preparing it correctly. You do not worry about whether it will arrive. You simply trust that your meal is on its way. In the same way, once you have set your intention, you must let go and trust that it is being prepared for you. Your only job is to remain in the state of already having it. But most people struggle with this concept because they are attached to their senses. They look at their current circumstances and think nothing is changing. My desire is not here yet. And because they do not see immediate results, they allow doubt to take over. But reality is simply a reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. If you want to change what you see, you must first change what you assume to be true. This requires persistence. Persistence means holding on to your assumption even when there is no physical evidence. It means refusing to let external conditions shake your belief. If you truly assume something is real, you will not constantly check for proof. You will not worry about how it will happen. You will simply know that it is already done. And when you maintain this state long enough, reality will conform to match it. Some may ask, but what if I assume something and it does not happen? The answer is simple. It means you did not truly assume it. Assumption is not just thinking about something or wishing for it. It is fully accepting it as already yours. When you assume correctly, there is no question, no doubt, no need for reassurance. You live in the state of the fulfilled desire, and the world eventually reflects that state back to you. Many of the most successful people in history have applied this principle, whether consciously or unconsciously. They did not wait for external proof before believing in their success. They believed first, and the results followed. They did not spend time worrying about how things would unfold. They simply knew that they would. And because they operated from a state of certainty, everything fell into place effortlessly. Letting go and trusting the process does not mean being passive. It means taking inspired action. When you are in alignment with your desire, you will naturally be guided towards the right opportunities, the right people, and the right decisions. But these actions will not feel forced. They will feel effortless. as if everything is unfolding perfectly. This is the difference between struggling and allowing. Struggle comes from trying to force things into place. Allowing comes from trusting that everything is already working in your favor. Many people have experienced moments where things seem to fall into place without effort. Perhaps they were looking for a job and suddenly the perfect opportunity appeared. Perhaps they needed money and an unexpected source provided it. These are not coincidences. They are proof of what happens when you align yourself with your desire and let go of resistance. When you trust, you allow the universe to work on your behalf. But the moment you start doubting, questioning, or trying to control the process, you disrupt the flow. You introduce resistance, which slows down or even blocks your manifestation. This is why it is so important to remain in the state of already having what you want. When you live from this state, you naturally attract everything you need. Some people believe that letting go means becoming indifferent, but this is not true. Letting go means releasing worry, not desire. It means remaining confident in your assumption without needing to constantly check for results. It means understanding that your desire is already done, even if you cannot yet see it. The most powerful shift you can make in your life is to move from a state of doubt to a state of knowing. When you know that your desires are already yours, you no longer feel the need to force anything. You do not worry, you do not stress, you do not chase, you simply allow. And in this state of allowing, everything flows to you effortlessly. Most people make life more difficult than it needs to be. They believe they must struggle, fight, and prove themselves before they can receive what they want. But the truth is that creation is meant to be effortless. When you assume the feeling of already having what you want and let go of resistance, you unlock the true power of manifestation. The key is to trust. Trust that your desires are already yours. Trust that everything is working in your favor. Trust that the universe is always aligning circumstances to bring your vision to life. And most importantly, trust yourself. Because once you fully accept that you are the creator of your reality, everything will begin to change. In the end, the greatest realization one can come to is that life is not something that happens to you, it is something that happens through you. The reality you experience is a direct reflection of the assumptions you hold within. When you try to force outcomes, control every detail, or live in a state of doubt, you create resistance and delay your manifestations. But when you shift your focus inward, assume the state of your fulfilled desires, and trust that everything is already working in your favor, life begins to unfold effortlessly. The key to true transformation is not struggle, it is alignment. When you align yourself with what you desire, it must come to pass. The world does not respond to wishful thinking or fleeting hopes. It responds to unwavering belief. Your ability to create the life you want is not based on luck or external circumstances. It is based on your ability to assume, persist, and trust. Let go of fear, let go of doubt, let go of the need to control how and when things happen. Instead, embrace the truth that what you seek is already yours. Live in the feeling of that fulfilled reality, and the universe will have no choice but to reflect it back to you. When you master this, you will no longer chase success, happiness, or love. They will naturally flow to you. Because the moment you believe, you become.